Hey, what up guys? Marco Princeton here. I'm an award-winning barber from Toronto, and today I'll be demonstrating a high bald fade with a beard. If you guys want to check out my other work, I'll leave my Instagram somewhere on the screen. Without further ado, let's get it. We're first just going to start off with a 1.5 guard with the lever fully open. We're here to remove any unnecessary bulk across the parietal ridge. If you're wondering what tools I'm using, link will be in the description. So right here we're using no guard with the lever fully closed. Starting at a temple peak point, I tend to always like to brush it down before we start, just to keep everything nice and clean. With this being our first initial guideline, make sure to always use the C motion to prevent any hard lines created. As you can see, I'm constantly flicking as I create my guidelines around the head. I tend to like using clip of a comb because it helps create a very consistent blend between the sides and the remaining long hair comes from the top. This method can also be used with debulking and creating shapes with the sides. Rather than using any higher guards, this definitely makes it a lot easier and it's easily one of the most important techniques within your arsenal. Within this guideline, we're going to move up 1/2 inch, no guard lever fully open, applying the C motion to create a less definitive line as we proceed with the fade. By using the C motion, this allows you to draw out the fade slightly quicker and sets up an easier blend for the next step. Now, with the lever fully closed, we can start the fade by blending out our first initial guideline. I'll be using the technique trigger play, just simply adjusting the lever from closed, midway, and open to create a more consistent blend. This technique demonstrates where if the blade is open, the inner blade is cutting at a longer length due to the lower thickness of the back blade. Midway would just be a moderate amount of surface area to blend in between, while closed is sitting at its thinnest point of the back blade, cutting at its shortest length. Next up, with the number 1 guard, we're going to set the third guideline going up 1/4 inch with the lever fully open. It's always good to keep the canvas clean, so make sure to always have a comb or a brush in hand. With the number 1 guard still on, we're going to fully close the lever and try to blend out the guideline that we created with the 1 open. For this step, even the lever fully closed, the guideline won't be 100% knocked out. The next step is the step that will completely remove this guideline and bring the fade out altogether. Now with the 0.5 guard, I'm going to start off with the lever fully closed and trigger play my way to mid and then fully open. This won't be a separate guideline like all the other steps. This will be used to blend on the 1 guard rather than creating a separate guideline. Its main purpose is to help pack the fade to create a more contrasted fade. The more guidelines created, the fade becomes more stretched, where fewer guidelines allow more play and spacing, giving the fade a sharper and darker finish. Here we're going to do some touch-up work. So we're going to go back to the no guard lever fully open and simply just touch up on certain areas where the hair doesn't blend as smoothly as the others. Corner detailing is using the corners of the blade where you can simply poke into specific dark areas rather than using the full blade. If you're using the full blade, it might take off more than needed, so be mindful with this technique. As you can see, I'm constantly adjusting the lever as I'm using each corner of the blade to ensure I'm not cutting off more than needed. If you do feel uncomfortable, you can always put on a guard and work your way down from there. Here with the trimmers, we start by removing the rest of the bulk and prepare for the balling process. I do have 2 sets of trimmers. Personally, I like to preserve the sharpness of my other liner. I have one that's mainly for removing bulk and the other one meant for just lineups and beard work. Make sure you do get behind or underneath the ears because hairs do grow there. For some people, their beards do proceed to the back, so double check and see if there's any leftovers and get in there. Now with the electrical shaver, we can start balding it out. Give at least half an inch down from where the trimmer line was at and bald out everything beneath there. You can always double check to see if you fully balded everything. To do that, simply run your finger across the client's scalp to feel if there are any leftover stubbles. You will start noticing a small difference where the bald line and the trimmer line meets. To blend the bald and the trimmer guideline together, simply use the shaver and go downwards while gently applying pressure. This method allows the shaver to lightly graze over the line and helps blend both lines together. Here for the edge up, I like to just comb or brush out the hair before I start the lineup. It helps untangle the hairs that are sitting at an improper position. Make sure to always have a brace. I tend to use my middle finger as a brace to stabilize my hand rather than hovering above the forehead. Right here, I'm going to come in and taper out the beard, starting from no guard closed to set my first initial guideline and blend my way down to midway, then fully open. When it comes to lining up the beard, I like to start off identifying the hardest hitting line before I proceed into the lineup. Repeating same steps, I like to always comb out everything before I start. The bottom and the side of the beard, hairs tend to grow in all different types of directions. As you can see, I'm constantly flipping my trimmers around, hitting all angles to ensure everything is trimmed down evenly. To ensure the bottom of the beard is symmetrical, have your client sit up straight and have its head tilted back just enough where it's visible to see both ends of the beard. On to the blade work. Make sure to stretch the skin as you perform any types of shaves, whether it be wet or dry. It will prevent any cuts or irritation on the skin. Let the blade do all the work. Unnecessary pressure will create a cut. For the excessive hairs that's left over on the cheek, make sure to go with the grain as you blade. Going against may tug and could potentially cut the client. And lastly, for the mustache, just make sure to have your client stretch his lips downwards for a smoother shave. And that's a wrap, folks. I hope you guys liked the haircut. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to leave it in the comments or just send me a DM. Please subscribe for more because I need it. Love y'all. See you next time. Peace.